You can ask. These are things that we study over a long time, and those who will. And so that's in short, yes.
Is there between the point of the heart to the place of the barrier, do we feel something, or is it completely disconnected from feeling? And how after the barrier do we need to move to through the section of the klipot?
Until the barrier, you don't go through any section of klipot. There's no klipot here. There's no kedusha or klipa. Under the barrier, there's only beastliness.
Above the barrier?
Above the barrier, when you go above the barrier, then the soul begins to enter a system then we begin to enter a system where there is a soul that enters through the barrier, and then there are degrees where this is the desire to receive, and this is the desire to bestow. This is right, this is left. And when you cross the barrier, then the soul receives desire from here, broken desire. And from here it receives force for correction, and thus grows according to 3 lines. On each and every degree, it has to take on more desire, matter, and power, force, to correct that matter, and then again, more matter, more force. When you receive that desire, additional desire, it feels as darkness, feels like disruption, disturbance, because the desire is broken. So it's as though it lowers the person. And even now in the time of preparation, we sometimes feel that we fall. Suddenly, nothing's interesting, everything's hopeless, it's all worthless. I'm talking about people who are working to get closer to the barrier, not just people who are depressed because they lost something in ordinary life. So when the desire arises, it is a broken desire. And here you get force or light. And this is the middle line. This is where man grows, between the 2 lines. So from his point, that's how he ascends. Look, there's a lot to elaborate here. I'm just limiting myself. So now we spoke last time, I mentioned our work here, how we do it. We receive desire and receive power, but how do we make this scrutiny? So we said that we have kedusha, holiness, and klipa, shell. And between kedusha and klipa is the 3 impure shells. So this is bia of impurity, or it's also called serpent. This is called the storm, great cloud, and blazing fire. 3 impure shells. You can also write it down. This actually abbreviates a lot of knowledge that is learned over dozens of pages because it's written in a very detailed way. And then there is the shell of Noga. And then there is Kedusha.
קדושה זה ביה וקדושה.
And Kedusha is Bia of Kedusha.
אפילו אבי. מה לא מובן? אז קליפת נוגה זה שליש אמצעי של תפארת.
So
יש לנו
the
תפארת.
Klippa of Noga is the middle third of Tiferet. Tiferet is where there's always a cessation, parsa, the place of restriction, the cessation between vessels of reception and vessels of bestowal.
אם אנחנו ניקח פרצוף קטע חוכמה בינה חסד גבורה תפארת נצח הוד יסוד מלכות אז קטע חוכמה בינה זה גיבל ראשונה כמו היה לנו שורש א' וב' בחינות כאן.
So, if we take the partsuf of Keter, Chochma, Bina, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut, then Keter, Chochma, Bina is the first 3. Like we had root 1 and 2 phases, right? Then we have Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet. What is Tiferet? Tiferet is divided to 3 parts. Upper third, middle third, and lower third.
כשאנחנו עובדים אחרי צמצום ב'
When we work after the second restriction with the 3 lines,
אדם, נשמה זאת אומרת. פרצוף או אדם זה נקרא נשמה.
where the partsuf of Adam, or the soul, whether we call it a partsuf or Adam, it's called the soul. It's built according to the 3 lines as we discussed here, left, right, and middle. So it turns out that the partsuf works like this. It has a rosh, then it has right, then left.
ראש זה נקרא כתר חוכמה בינה.
So the rosh is Keter Chochma Bina. The right is Chesed. The left is Gvura.
הגוף עצמו נקרא תפארת.
And the goof itself is called Tiferet.
נצח.
So,
נצח.
Netzach
זה רגל ימין. זה יד.
is called the right leg. Chesed is the right hand.
ימין. רגל. שמאל זה הוד.
Left leg is Hod.
זה מקום.
Yesod is the place of coupling.
זה כבר שלא משתמשים בצמצום.
And Malchut is not being used with the restriction.
עכשיו. אז אנחנו רואים מכאן שתפארת זה עיקר הגוף בפרצוף. ותפארת הזאת
So
אנחנו מחלקים
we see from here that Tiferet is the main part of the goof, the partsuf.
נקרא
And this Tiferet is divided to 3 parts. The first part is called Chazeh.
חלק אמצעי.
This is the upper part. The middle part is called Tabur. And the lower part is called Yesod.
וזה הכל שייך לתפארת.
And all of that belongs to Tiferet. Like with us, we can say the upper part is the chazeh, the middle part is until the tabul, the navel, and then the lower part is from the navel to the yesod. When we look at the 10 sfirot, then where do the vessels of bestowal end? The vessels of bestowal end at the upper half of Tiferet. Here are vessels of bestowal.
מאיפה מתחילים כלים לקבלה? הם מתחילים
Where do the vessels of reception begin? They begin from the lower third of Tiferet. Vessels of reception.
ומה קורה לנו בשליש אמצעי בתפארת?
And what happens in the middle third of Tiferet?
איך ניטרלי בעברית להגיד?
How do you say neutral in Hebrew? Just neutral?
Neutral.
Okay.
Independent.
Meaning that it's not here nor there, neither here nor there.
Neutral. Liberal.
לא, אני מתייחס בעברית.
Free. Distinguished.
No, I'm asking about the right Hebrew term.
Neutralizing.
אז חלק הזה עומד
All right.
על זה ככה.
So this part, we say it is half good and half bad.
חצי טוב וחצי רע.
Why do we call it half good, half bad? Because from above there's good, vessels of bestowal. From below there's bad, vessels of reception. So to say it's neither this nor that, we say half this, half that. So Kabbalists too had a hard time expressing how it's called.
Why didn't they divide it to half in that way?
Why didn't it divide it? Because that's the quality. Why do you think they just divide things however they feel like? We see that the middle third, this is very interesting, the middle third of Tiferet is the only thing, the only place, the only desire in man's body, meaning within us, within our soul. Body in Kabbalah means the vessel, the soul. It's not our flesh and blood body. So the middle third of Tiferet is actually the only desire that is in our control. The Creator, as if didn't dictate whether it belongs to vessels of bestowal or vessels of reception. It's simply neutral. And so it depends on us, where do we relate it to? Vessels of bestowal or vessels of reception. So our entire work and who we are those who can connect the middle third of Tiferet to here or to here, to reception or bestowal. That's it. This is the only free element in reality, in creation, and that is actually our entire work. All the rest, everything else has there's no independence there, no free choice, nothing. Everything simply acts and works by precise systems that we can say in advance how they're going to work. It's just a machine. Besides this part, the middle third of Tiferet, which is free choice, where free choice is. And this middle third of Tiferet is called the Klippa of Noga. There are 3 impure shells רוח סערה, ענן גדול, אש מתלקחת. That corresponds to the worlds of עשייה, יצירה, בריאה. And there's the world of אצילות, that there's no klipa opposite that. And in between this and that, there is klipa noga.
Flexible.
What is that? You can't say whether it's here or there. Yeah, it just depends on man's work.
שאלות.
Questions?
Did you mean the first point that you started in root? Was that the light that you meant there? It was erased.
Yes.
Meaning you meant the world of Ein Sof, the light of Ein Sof.
מה קורה מגלגול לפני שאנחנו מגיעים להרגשת
What happens between one life cycle to another before we come to the feeling or the attraction to spirituality?
Or in time?
All of these life cycles are in order to collect sufficient sorrow to recognize that beastly development will not satisfy us ultimately. From one life cycle to the next, what's added, what's collected is a will to receive. All of the ascent happens by the will to receive. That's how it is also below, here, below the barrier. The more and more desire, greater desire is added to the person. Even though we die, we reincarnate, the Reshimot return, and we continue growing the desire. So when the desire is added, this is what causes the development of the world. Greater desire means people invent more things. They develop economics, culture, technology, their environment. This is caused by the will to receive that is added day by day in the souls, meaning the records, the Reshimot, appear in us from the shattering in a chain. As they were, the records, they lost their screen. Now they begin to appear in us as this chain of records from the small to the greater, so smaller to bigger, and it forces us to fulfill these records. So the records that descended to this world demand all kinds of fulfillments in this world. So we chase all kinds of fulfillments, and we're not aware that these are records within us. So I think like I want this, I want that, I go and do all kinds of things. A person can't distinguish between himself and his records, his desire. Because if I take my desire out of myself, then who am I? I am the one who wants. We don't have the ability to detach from the desire and objectively examine the desire, even though we can kind of do it in our intellectually, but it doesn't work. In spirituality, however, we can do this. Why? Because we exist in two opposite systems. One is opposite to the other. And so we could be under the system of Klipa and under the system of Kedusha. And then we can inspect one through the other. And then we can choose between them and see how can we be incorporated with both forces. And before you enter spirituality, you're only under this system of the Klipa. So we can't avoid its control and examine objectively who we are and in what way we decide and what motivates us and nothing. Meaning until a person goes out to spirituality, he can't make any free choice.
And the records?
And all of the free actions of choice, they begin from the barrier upwards. And we existing below the barrier, we're like beasts. We can't do any free action. But because we're under a single system rather than two, then we think we are truly free, because this is the only thing that's happening in us. To know if you're free or not, you have to know between this and that. You understand, you need two systems to understand whether you're free or not. If you're only under a single influence, you can't tell the difference. Take a baby, let him live in some labor camp his entire life. He will not understand there's anything outside. He'll just think that's life and that's freedom and that's it. So is it freedom or not? It's a question. Same with us, meaning one who doesn't exit to spirituality that's simply why we call it a beast, because he's being guided in a way that is forced from above. But indifferent? No, it's not. It's not indifferent.
Independent?
Not dependent, maybe. Yeah, that's correct. Independent is the most accurate. Yes. So, who wanted to ask?
Between the point of the heart and the barrier, do you feel something, or are you completely disconnected?
Between the point in the heart and the barrier, you begin to feel spirituality, but not in a clear way, in a far way, meaning that you don't discern anything in an absolute way. You can't see, but you have some remote connection.
After how much time is that?
After how long? If you do the work within 10 minutes, it'll be 10 minutes. If you do it in 10 years, it'll be 10 years. What do you mean, how long? After, you want to say this. What do I need to do to move from here? From here, yeah, the time of preparation, until the barrier. What do I need to do? Give me the plan, 1, 2, 3, I'll do it, and I'm done, and then tomorrow I'm there. So what you need to do is, despite all the disruptions you are given in this world, to get yourself accustomed to thinking that you are in direct connection with the Creator. Have you read None Else Besides Him? The article from Shamati. Look, there are a few things. You all have Kabbalah for Beginners book?
Yes.
So you should read.
The Shekhinah in Excel?
You should read The Matter of Spiritual Attainment. The chapter of Spiritual Attainment. There you'll find The Matter of Divinity in Exile, page 81. Also, page 83 is the reason for heaviness in the work. In short, look, this book is just, you have to put it through your ears and into yourself. You read. If you read, then I have nothing to add. Meaning, if you will be able to take all the incidents you have in life and orient them in such a way that they come directly from the Creator, and you have no contradiction about that, but every day, every moment, right now, not that you're saying this about the past, this means you've reached a state where you can begin to know Him tangibly beyond the barrier.
If everyone is from the same soul, then there is
no more than the soul we call Adam Alishon. There's nothing more than the single soul called Adam Alishon.
And we have to bring everything to correction, our whole world to correction?
Not the whole world, ourselves. You don't need to correct the world. The world's not broken. Only man is broken. What is man? The point in the heart is broken. Everything else in us is not broken. You don't need to fix your character. You don't need to fix your beastly physical body. You don't need to do anything. You just need to work with that point of yearning for spirituality. That's what you need to develop. That's the only thing you need to think about. And from that point, you need to live. Everything else, leave it. Just let it be. You don't need to touch it at all. If you are you're a curmudgeon, or you're lustful or you're lazy. It doesn't matter. Just continue to be what you are. You don't need to correct these qualities at all. Only your connection with godliness is what you need to correct. Only. Everything else has to do with your beastly character, which you don't need to correct. The beast remains a beast.
From the concept that we are all together, specifically from this, we're actually parts of the same soul, or is it not?
We are parts of the same soul called Adam Arishon.
And we don't
Every
come back
one
to the
of
same
us is a
essence,
part
or
of it. So what's the question?
we don't return to that same essence, or
We return to the exact same form as there was before. We assemble exactly the same soul as it was before.
if I return and my friend doesn't return, or is it the other way around? Or
Everyone returns, don't worry. Everyone returns to the same state. No one will not return.
and what stage are we in now?
What stage you are now, the way you are now,
What, actually the whole world?
same thing. Are you asking how many souls returned and how many haven't?
No, I'm asking when will they all come back?
When will everyone return? When they correct themselves. Let's say in 10,000 years. I don't know. What does it matter? You are concerned about tomorrow. Think about yourself. This is not related to time. It's related to the recognition of the urgency of the correction.
Yes, but I look at the world in a general way, and the whole world actually has this development in our desire, from the desire of people that was once from food to.
I'll tell you, the truth is, if you look at Baal HaSulam or the Gaon of Vilna or other Kabbalists, you can read in their books that the last phase before the final correction began in 1990, which is about 10, 11 years ago.
Yes, but for what period?
It started. We've entered what we call the days of Messiah. Now, the development is happening very fast, very decisive, to put everyone into a state where each and every one will begin to feel that he needs spiritual ascent. Otherwise, he just has no way to exist in this world. And how long will it take? That depends on how much we hasten the times. It is said Israel hastened the times, or above stars and fortunes, as it's called, above time. Meaning we could do it in a few months, we could do it in a few years, or if we do it, God forbid, in the worst way, it could take dozens and dozens of years. But still, the century that we have began, according to the ordinary non-Hebrew calendar, this will, I think that within in the next few years, we'll begin to see how reality necessitates us. Not us who are already sitting here, but millions of people. We can also start to sense it through the internet that millions of people are beginning to feel that point in the heart. It's not that the person needs some awareness or something. We don't rely on the person. The person is just a beast. But when the point in the heart begins to awaken and ascend, then he begins to feel that he needs to bring it back to the root. This is beginning to appear across all nations and in quite big amounts of people. Now, it doesn't have to happen to everyone. It doesn't happen to happen to everyone, because in Adam Rishon, in the souls, there's also a matter of still vegetative animate speaking. So we're talking about a conscious entrance to spirituality only to those who belong to the speaking degree of Adam Rishon. The rest enter differently, after them and with them, by joining them and so forth. Meaning not everyone has to sit and study Kabbalah and become great Kabbalists, but because they'll help, because they'll join all kinds of tasks, all kinds of things, like a beast towards man. So they will enter as well. And Baal HaSulam writes about it in the last generation.
Also, the nations.
Of course, the nations, yeah.
So why do I need to work so hard if it comes?
You haven't started working, so I don't understand your complaint. You're complaining that you're working hard for the nations.
So it's the Jews that or whoever really works.
Who's working? Those who are working, they feel it as a reward, not as a punishment. What are you talking about? That's one thing. Second thing, it is written that specifically the nations will bring the Jews on their shoulders to the Jerusalem, to the Temple Mount. You don't understand the work they'll need to do. The nations means vessels of reception, the Jews means vessels of bestowal, and the main work is the vessels of reception. So the combination that you're going to have in the end of correction between the nations and the Jews is a very unique combination of future work, and I can't say we can't go into these calculations. Who's coming, who's first, who's afterwards, and why does it work like that? These are things that, for now, it's not up to us to go into these discernments. For that, you have to see what Partzufim come. Are they from the parts of Adam HaRishon? In what way they come together? At the end of the day, in the end of correction, no one will have a feeling that there's that wholeness and eternity everywhere. This I promise you. But for now, while you're broken, you can't even see the perfection in midway. And when your eyes will be open, then you will see that even in the middle of it and in each and every step, there is no memory of some upper action that is not holy. But rather, you judge the way you judge. What can you do? We will continue in a week. Yeah? So within a week, we'll continue a bit more, maybe one more lesson with all of these details. And then we'll move to the next part. And certainly this inner work of ours, how to rise from below upwards. We'll read a few articles, letters that have to do with that, so you'll get a foundation. Just like you've received some knowledge about how things unfolded from below upwards and how we came to the shattering and to our state. So you need to have some sort of understanding about the method of rising from our state to the upper world. All right?